Hey everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Therapist. This week, we have weird things that straight people say to queer people. I asked for input on Instagram and on Facebook for people to send me weird things that straight people say or ask about those in the LGBTQIA community. I'm going to give you things that straight people say and some reasons why they might say that and some options for you to respond to them. Here we go.
Maybe you haven't met the right person yet.
Who people meet is not going to change their romantic attraction, their sexual attraction, their need for companionship, or how they experience themselves. The understanding that's happening here when someone who is straight says that to someone else is that your entirety of your future and the way that you experience yourself is pinned on another person. If I think I'm gay and I'm dating women and finally I meet the right man, in that lens, that will all of a sudden make it clear who I am, who that person is, and who I am to the world. If your identity is that wrapped up in someone else, that's a problem. If your expectation is that other people's identity is that wrapped up in someone else, in response to this, that's a problem. You could very easily say, my understanding of who I am and my identity is not founded in who the other person is that I'm with. Number 2.
You don't look gay.
What does a gay person look like? This goes back to the problem of representation in mainstream media. When you do not have a diverse understanding of what people who belong to the LGBTQIA community look like or act like or sound like or think like, when you don't experience that, as a straight person, you are not going to understand what those identities mean outside of what you're seeing in media. When mainstream media started putting queer people on TV, they would take what society saw as feminine men and then what society saw as masculine women and put them on TV because cishet society understands the roles of men and women. And so if you have a woman who's attracted to women, then the woman needs to look manly. That's what happened in media as a whole. Therefore, people are seeing this and they're like, that's what you should look like or should act like. And that's how I know what box you fit in. You can respond to this in a couple of different ways. You can say, cool. You can say, thanks. You can say, wow, that's inappropriate. Or you can just move on. Really, this one depends on the relationship that you have with the person and how you want that relationship to progress. What boundaries you want to put up, what ways you want to allow them to experience you, and what access you want to give them to your emotions. There's really not a wrong way to answer this because it is a fairly aggressive and generally inappropriate statement. Number 3, which one's the man and which one's the woman? This one's difficult. It's not dissimilar to the one before this, where the understanding of what people look like and act like is very much understood through the lens of media and what people have seen over the years. So I want to think sometimes there might be a little bit of an innocence in this, but really, bottom line is it's offensive because it takes their understanding of something and puts it on you, and it becomes your responsibility to explain to them the roles of your relationship. It is not your responsibility to explain your relationship to anyone. You do not have to justify yourself or your relationship to anyone. You never do. If you choose to respond to this type of a statement, you can, if you want to put the effort into it, educate them on why that's so offensive. The bottom line is this is not one that you should feel any obligation to answer this because this is grounded in someone's mistaken beliefs about roles in relationships. This is about their misunderstanding of roles in relationships, not about yours. Number 4.
But don't you want to have kids?
No lie, I was on a message board the other day. They were talking about how as being queer becomes more mainstream and acceptable, more and more people are going to be looking towards that, which is why the percentages are higher than they used to be. That's not incorrect, actually, because representation makes people understand that you can be who you are and it's not taboo to be who you are. More than that, on this message board, they were like, and then soon no one's going to end up having kids. You can have kids as a queer couple just as well as you can have kids as a straight couple. Many straight couples require medical assistance in order to conceive. It's not unheard of. It's not bizarre. It's not weird. There's also how many children out there now that need loving homes, and queer couples are 2 to 3 times as likely to adopt children as straight couples. So I don't know, if we have more queer couples, maybe we'll have less kids in foster care. Just a thought. This is something that gets said to people who are trans. Number 5, have you had the surgery? Again, this comes from the privileged status of the asker because they think they have the right to know anything about your body, and they don't. You never have to respond to this question. You and your doctors, when it is medically necessary for them to know, are the only ones who have to know this information. There is this weird understanding from cis people that trans people owe them explanations, and you don't. There is enough happening in our society that makes it seem like you are unacceptable or wrong as a person, and you're not. You never have to answer this. If you choose to educate the person that you are speaking to about why this is such an inappropriate statement, go for it. Also, congratulations, because you are a better human being than I am. You never have to do that. And I want to apologize to every person who's ever had that question asked of them. And I know there's a lot of you out there. Number 6, we have an all-time favorite, said very, very often, especially these days. I don't care what you do in your bedroom, just don't rub my face in it. This comes again from a place of privilege. And when someone says this, they are saying that they are uncomfortable with the concept of you and your partner or partners, and therefore they don't want to deal with their discomfort. That's not my problem. Our whole lives, we have had to have heteronormativity shoved in our faces. Our whole lives. For most of us, it wasn't until we began to understand that there's actually nothing wrong with who we are as people, and that we had every right to exist and to have representation around us and to have affirmation of our worth the way that cis het people have had all along. Unless someone is forcing you as a straight person to, I don't know, kiss someone of the same gender, it's not being shoved down your throats. 2 people holding hands, 2 people sharing a meal out or snuggling up with each other at a movie is not shoving it in anyone's face. If you're okay with it in a heterosexual sense, you should be okay with it in a queer sense. Your line should be the same for both. Anything other than that. Number 7 is one I had said to me recently. Someone called me a lesbian, and then I said I'm not a lesbian, and they asked me how I identify, and I said I'm bi, and their response to me was, I just call that greedy. It's not funny. Like, that's not funny. When I tried to educate the person on the fact that was a biphobic statement, they were not hearing it because it made them feel bad that they would have said something that would have offended me. So they're like, I'm just trying to be funny. I'm just trying to be funny. So I'm going to tell you what I did in that situation. I opted to say one more time, I find that biphobic. It's like when people say, I just need to make up my mind or choose. My identity as bi did not change when I got into a relationship with a woman. Just like my identity as bi would not be different if I was in a relationship with a man. I'm still bi. Anything other than that is bi erasure, and we do not stand for that. We're going to finish up with number 8, and that is the
hate the sin but love the sinner
statement. That is a statement that a lot of church people will use in order to excuse not agreeing with someone else's life. You cannot hate part of who I am. That goes into every facet of who I am. Yes, it's just one part of me, but it is also ingrained in all the other parts of me. You can't hate part of me and love the rest of me. You love me or you don't. I don't have to like some things that someone else does that are choices that they do. The problem is, this is not choice. My identity is not choice. Who I'm with is a choice, just like it is for everybody else. We choose to be in relationships with people. Having someone in my life in general is a choice, just like it's a choice to not have people who say this to me in my life for much longer. This statement is rooted in the idea that it is a choice to be how I am. It's a choice to be how you are. It's a heteronormative statement because the expectation is that everyone is born straight. Everyone is born cisgender. And anything else besides that is a choice. That's not true. I would really advocate for you not to even answer this in general, but if you want to, you do you. If you're interested in hearing more about the hate the sin, love the sinner thing, I encourage you to check out this video right here. That's it for today. I will see you all next week. If you enjoyed this, put some other statements down below and I will do a reaction video to them. I will see you all next time. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.